Okay, so first we need to take this data from this document, data entry model, the one that shows all the products with the code, description, and MSRP. That's price. And without accessories, we don't want to deal with anything below number 61, below row 61. This is important. Everything upwards is what we're talking about. So all that data, these rows, without these headings, of course, just the actual items. We need to insert that data into here, into this document, starting with row 67. So we're going to have product code, description, and price. MSRP is price. Product name is actually going to be also this. The description, that's also going to be product name. So just put the product here. Description is going to be product name, and product description is also going to be product description. So these are going to be the same columns filled with the same data. Then after you do that, then you're going to realize you have all kinds of columns that have all kinds of information that we need to fill for each product. And the way to do that is basically we can take data from this sheet. That's the data. Again, this is just another sheet. We have the first one, the one that you created, and then the sheet number 5, the one I just created. And that sheet has data on all four categories: stoves, inserts, fireplaces, and pellet stoves. So wood stoves, wood inserts, fireplaces, pellet stoves. The columns are not aligned. They're separate. They have their separate layout. So don't just copy the column, because it's going to go across all of these 4 categories and incorrectly select them. But for example, you can see that I have all these models here, and they're actually marked here, what data belongs to what model. And if the sheet, if this sheet shows, for example, color or height, for example, there's a height column here, then you can take information from this sheet and see that it actually does this overall height. It's just overall dimension height, but it's the same thing. It's basically height. And you know that you have this data, you can copy it into that column, and then you go to product, and I go to height, I copy it here. The only problem with it is that I end up with these empty rows, which we can get rid of later down the road. But we want to make sure that if we're filling in these various columns, number one, you're going to have to make sure that all the data aligns with the particular model, with the particular product name, product code. It aligns, that there isn't, that by accident you don't copy and do this, because then it won't align and it's going to create incorrect entry. And the reason I copy the columns is so that we save time. You don't have to type everything separately. You can just take the whole column, for example, glass type, found glass type, and then I go here, and I know there is one that shows glass type because I remember that it does. And there you go, glass type right here. So I can paste it here, but yeah, and I know that it aligns. This is in the same row as this, and so you do that for as many columns as possible. Some columns here will have, for example, let's see, minimum fireplace opening width. You're not going to find information about that for stoves. So we're just dealing with one category at a time. This is wood stoves. There is no such thing as minimum fireplace opening, in which case you just don't fill it. Just look where, if any of these headings match the column headings or are very similar. For example, high efficiency EPA certified appliance, yes. That column, copy this, it's going to be here somewhere, and it's going to be called EPA approved. That's what it is. That's the same, and it's a yes, yes, yes across the board. And then if you run out of all these columns here, if you made sure that all these columns can find a home, some of these can find a home on the other sheet. Some of these columns will not find a home on the other sheet. Some of them, like for example, model, pedestal legs, this column doesn't have any equivalent in here. There is no such thing. So just don't do it. Skip it. It's not a big deal. But once you have exhausted the possibilities of matching these columns, then you go here. You go to the manufacturer's website, and for this particular model, the 900 wood stove, see we're in Osburn. Basically, you go to products, and in the products you have three kinds: wood stoves, wood inserts, wood fireplaces, pellet stoves. So we're going to start with wood stoves, and you choose the first model, 900 wood stove, and within here you're going to go to specs and manual, and there is another table that shows information that we can use. So for example, fuel type, dry cordwood. In this case, if I go back to our here, I have fuel type. I'm actually not going to use dry cordwood. Well, as a matter of fact, I can. We can just type in dry cordwood, but normally I would just type in wood, just because I have either gas, wood, or pellet. There's three types of fuel: pellets, gas, and wood. So just type wood for this one. See, but if I type it here, that's not aligned. So this actually should be moved into here, so it's aligned. And somewhere here the product code would show and product name would say 600 wood stove, or I'm sorry, 900 wood stove. But these are the steps. First, you first move this information to here, then you move this information to match the rest of the columns, and then go to the website and you log in. You go into each product and you find a product, and then you see, for example, recommended heating area. And I can copy this and I can go here and heating square footage, there it is, and I can put it right there. This is how much it heats. I hope this isn't too complicated, and I will provide you with all of this data in a file, in a link to a file. Thank you.